this is the
It is.
Development Review Board for Burlington for February 15th. And we are fully remote at this point. And on Zoom, we take up items that they are on in the agenda. And when we call people, Scott will admit people to participate. And that goes to the applicant and members of the public who wish to speak. And people get sworn in at that time. And we ask that you give Scott your mailing address. Okay. So we have no consent item, so we might as well get right into the first item is a public hearing for 7779 Monroe Street, use of a 1 unit of a duplex as a bed and breakfast, short-term rental. Is the applicant here, Scott?
The applicant is here, Brad. After the fact, after the agenda went out, you may have noticed that this application and the next one on King Street are recommended for consent. But that's your call as to how you want to handle it.
I saw that. Oh,
Here.
it was in the, okay, so they were listed as consent in the staff report. They just didn't make it here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to treat these two as, we'll start off seeing if it's a consent agenda. I will ask the applicant if we, are you okay if we, that's Lucas Jensen?
Yes, correct.
And if we, you read the staff's findings and recommendations?
I did, yes.
And you're okay with those?
Yes, I'm fine with those.
Okay. Is there anybody on the board who objects to treating this as a consent item? No. Okay. And there's nobody from the public who's wishing to speak on 7779 Monroe Street?
Let me check on that, Brad. I see Lori Coderman has her hand up, but I think she's an applicant for Scarff Avenue. So Lori, you can hear me. I'm going to lower your hand. If you really want to speak on Monroe Street, you can raise it again.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like Lori is just here for her application.
Okay.
So no one looking to speak.
Would somebody like to make a motion on 7779 Monroe Street?
Make a motion on ZP 21-844-77-79 Monroe Street. I move that we accept staff recommendations and approve the application.
Second on that? Jeff, okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay, you're approved, Lucas.
Well, that was pretty painful. Thank you very much. I mean, painless. Sorry, painless. It was a long road to get here, but thank you very much. I appreciate the
Good.
approval.
The next item is 59 King Street. Is the applicant here for that one?
Yep. So Lori Coderman, I believe, is speaking for this one as well as the next.
Yeah, my son Antonio is the occupant. He's right here. He can speak. I just wanted, we're here together, so you're only going to see my name, Scott. I just wanted you to.
Okay, so Lori and Antonio, this is recommended for consent item, which means that the staff has recommended approval. Are you okay with the recommendations of the staff?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody on the board object to treating this one as a consent item? Jeff? You're muted.
I guess I do have a question about the relationship between this and the next one on our agenda. They look like they're similar applicants and they both require owner occupancy. So just need to understand what's going on there.
So before you say anything, Lori, I think, so we'll take this off the consent agenda, which means we treat it as a public hearing. So I'll ask Lori and Antonio if to swear yourselves in. Do you swear to tell the whole truth under pain and penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So Jeff had a question about this one, next one, relative to owner occupancy as a requirement for a bed and breakfast.
Sure. So can you hear me?
Yep.
I'll speak to that. I apologize, Jeff. I understand your confusion. Antonio's name should not have been on Scarff Avenue. Antonio's my son, and we run, he's actually does all the cleaning for the short-term rental, so it's his livelihood. And so his name really should not have been on Scarff. I'm not so sure how he got on that, but he lives at King Street and is one of, he's one of the owners. He's actually on the deed. And so that's, I think, the confusion there. Did that clarify things? And I live at Scarff Avenue. So Tony should not have been on that. I don't know how his name got on there. It was probably something I did when I was doing the application, because I was the secretary for it all.
Okay,
I
thank you.
apologize for that confusion.
That answer your question there, Jeff?
It does.
Any other questions for this applicant? Okay, well, we'll probably take up and vote on this at the end of the meeting. Then I'll close the public hearing on this one at this point. And we'll move on to 65 Scarff Avenue. And is anybody here to speak on that besides the applicant? Scott?
Like to speak on this application, raise your hand. Nope, just Lori.
Okay, so I think I guess I should swear you in again on this one, Laurie, that you'll swear to tell the truth and whole truth on the pain and penalty of perjury.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, this one also seems fairly straightforward. I have to admit, I'm curious about one thing myself.
Mhm.
And that is the site plan is from 2020 application, and it was approved. I assume you've built whatever's on that site
So,
plan.
yeah,
So there's an area on there, a 20 by 30 foot area that is that for parking?
yes.
It's 30 by 30.
It's actually 30 by 30, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to figure out how you could maneuver.
No, it's 30.
Yeah, it's 30 by 30.
And this is this yours, Ryan?
It is.
Does that affect the lot coverage?
The lot coverage was calculated underneath that 2020 permit that's associated with that site plan. So that was approved and developed as shown on the site plan. So they're just reusing that site plan. They're not changing anything on the site.
Well,
And that permit approved 3 spaces, which is the requirement for the proposed use overall.
yeah, but the site plan is not accurate. That's what.
Oh, is it 30 by 30? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's 20 by 30 on the site plan.
Oh, yeah, I'd have to look into that because
So Ryan,
20 by 30.
okay, my husband said it is 20 by 30. I'm
Oh,
sorry, I
you go.
misheard him.
Yeah.
So it is what it says. It's 20 by 30. And so it is approved for 3 cars, like Ryan said, but it's, sorry, did you have a question,
Oh, I
Ryan?
was wondering how you put your 3 cars in there. I'm just curious.
So we people usually back out. So it's, but we pull in and then we turn around and go out.
So you put 2 cars into this area here, then 1 car in the driveway? Or 3 cars in there?
3 cars fit.
Okay. Okay. We'll go with that.
Thank you, Brad.
Any other questions for the applicant on Scarff Avenue? Leo, did you have a question? Okay. That's the only question I had was on that maneuverability, but seems okay. Okay, I just wanted to look at one thing on the staff report. And I didn't notice it. Ryan, do we say anything about hours on this?
might have recommended on the look.
Oh, yeah, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Yeah, check in and check out.
Yep.
Okay, that was the main thing.
Yep.
Okay, unless anybody else has a question, we're gonna close the public hearing. Thank you. Okay, we're now moving on to 251, 253 South Union Street. Is the applicant here for that one?
You have the applicant. I think we have an applicant team. So James, I'm going to start with you. So James, is there anyone else presenting with you tonight? Once you unmute. All right.
Is anybody else besides James presenting?
Yeah, I see GBA conference room. Seemingly that's a human. So you can speak too now.
All right, thanks. Thanks.
Is that anybody from the public on this, Scott? That's it?
If anyone else from the public is looking to speak on this application on 251 South Union Street, raise your hand, please.
And
Going on.
who's here from GBA?
That's Steve Cradell.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Steve and James, would you raise your right hand and swear that you would tell the truth and whole truth on the pain and penalty of perjury?
Yes.
I hear one yes. James?
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yes.
So Brad, can I just jump in briefly?
Yeah.
Earlier today, I discovered a mistake on my part about inclusionary. Originally, this project was, I forget what it was, but it was more than 10 units. And even as adaptive reuse, inclusionary zoning applies. But it's since been slimmed down to 8 units. So the threshold for inclusionary zoning for an adaptive reuse project is 10. So, well, originally it looked like they were going to have to deal with inclusionary. They don't have to because they're talking about 8 units as presented. So you can strike the no finding about inclusionary.
Okay. And I'll just mention that I have a question of whether that unit 1 is really a viable unit. You know, in terms of windows and egress and all that other kind of stuff. So
It's a Brad, that unit 1 in the latest elevations we put together, we would have to,
yeah, it's B2 is what it is.
the one in the center, in the main.
Yeah, the one on the, what would be the south side and then the center.
Yeah, so we'd have to widen that, the window into the living area to get the required percentage for daylighting. That's updated on the, I just sent some stuff to respond to comments today. And so that's shown there with the wider, more daylighting going into that space. So I agree.
So Steve, I've not seen that yet. Is that
Okay.
something you can present to the board, or do you want me to fish that out of my email right now?
I could present it.
Okay. Well, why don't we do that? I'll promote you to panelist. All right. I'll just take a moment.
Okay.
While you do that, Scott, are there any issues with historic preservation and the building and new windows and opening up and enlarging openings?
There really isn't. It's all in the back and it's fairly minor.
Okay.
All right, Steve, you should be able to do screen share now.
Are you screen sharing, Steve?
Must be working on it.
Okay.
Does that work?
Yeah. We can see it.
Okay. Yeah, so a couple things have been added Should I go through all these, Scott, or just?
If it's different from what's included in the packet.
Okay,
I would just throw out there, Steve, that the plans did not show a walkway on the back on the first floor, which seems to be there in the elevations. And if it's there, it would be nice for it to be in the plan or on the
Okay.
elevation. Yeah, so maybe you have that now too.
well, here, so for the civil, we've added the walkway on the north side leading up to the, that comes in. I'm slow to respond here, sorry about this.
Oh, okay. There's the walkway.
Yeah, so this driveway is just too narrow between the lot line and the building. All we have is, it's just enough for the driveway to come through. So it doesn't really make sense to be able to have a walkway up along the asphalt. So really our only option to get back to the sidewalk is on the north side of the building. Right now, in this version, we have the 11 parking spaces shown with a van accessible ADA spot. There's two short-term bicycle racks here, right near the walkway. And then this is the trash enclosure. And we see this, I mean, this is a pretty steep hill right here. So we don't see it conceivable for a garbage truck to drive down here and pick up anything. So we see this as community trash with bins. And so people, or it has to be organized into these totes. They're either picked up and brought up to the street, or they're brought up in attendance to the street. So either by the haulers or by the tenants. And Brad, is this the walkway you were talking about on the north side?
No, it's a walkway attached to the back of the building.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I have, let me keep going. So these are the details for the walkway and they were asked for in the comments, and for the inverted bike rack. So this is just the coordination between the two and with the scale on the site plan. And I can add, so this is where this walkway here from the driveway into here, or into the entrances, that's what you're referring to, Brad, correct?
No, it's on one level up from that.
Ah, gotcha.
Isn't there a walkway outside of that on the west side there?
Yeah, and so we have this one, and we really don't want, it's just this stair that is gonna be undercover because it's an egress for this unit on the far north side. There, it has egress at grade on the entry, but this is really serving the access for, there's one unit up on the top level that has to be undercover here. And I'll show you the revised elevations for that, Brad.
Oh, okay, because the elevation shows a walkway across the whole back of the building.
And that is, this is the existing, what it is right now is an existing roof, existing deck all the way across, the existing roof across here. There's really no changes proposed to this elevation. And on this north side, we've opted to, actually, this was stopped right at this point, and just to not change things, just trying to keep things as close to the historic as they were. I did just change this in the submittal today to continue this all the way across. So I should update that in the plan, Brad, which I'll do. This roof stays across. This stair exists. It's the wrong rise and run, so we're gonna change this stair right here. The existing, I should comment, I'm gonna go back one for a second. All the changes to this building are really happening on the rear elevation. And this is the rear elevation now. There is that deck and there is a wall that was built below the deck, and it serves as storage for legal files, or it did. And so really it's just, there's a concrete pad in here, and these are just windows giving some daylight into this space. So we're looking to remove that wall and to expose the stone foundation that is under that deck. We think it's gonna look a lot better that way. And this is really the new window for that, for the center unit that you were mentioning, Brad, where we have to get this big enough to meet our 8% daylighting for this area. And we're putting a new door here in an existing opening, a new door up here to access the unit, the southernmost unit on the main floor. And we have to, and this is going to be a bedroom here. This has to be changed into an operable window as well. These units, there's 8 units. We're looking at 8 condensers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 condensers that are going to be wall mounted on the back of the back of the building. So really all the changes to this are happening on the westernmost elevation. In a lot of ways, we think it's a big improvement to what was there before. And Scott had mentioned, like, we're not substantially changing the historic nature of this, and this could be removed.
So Steve, small detail. I
Yeah.
see the new window on the center of the bottom, and your drawing shows it as a casement, whereas what's online shows double hung. Either way is fine, but it needs to look like a double hung. So it needs to be
Okay.
marked.
All right. In these windows here, where they're showing the 4 lights here, 3 lights, 3 lights, and 1 full glass over here, those are all existing. We're not changing those. You can see those. There's been a lot of modifications to the back of this in the past. There's been some doorways that were filled in and larger openings made. But we're trying to keep it as close to what it is currently as possible.
And if I understand it correctly then, Steve, the first floor units both entered from the east side of the building on Union Street. All the other units on the upper floor and the lower floor then are accessed from the back of the building. Is that right?
Well, if we look, I should say 1, this is the first floor here, this unit. Can you see my cursor when I do that?
Yeah.
Okay, this is accessed from Union Street through here.
Yeah.
This unit right through there is accessed again from Union Street through the main entrance.
Yeah.
And there's one bedroom unit that's accessed from the backside right through here, through those existing stairs that go up from the driveway.
Yeah.
And then on the upper story, this unit is accessed through the front stairs. This unit through the front stairs, and that's currently how it's set up right now. And then this 2-bedroom unit is accessed from the back through the deck system. So this would be a covered entry.
Okay.
We're trying to retain as much of the historic materials inside as well. And most of the walls that are coming down have been walls that have been added to create offices.
Yeah. For such a quiet, elegant street front, it's rather chaotic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Really,
One other thing I'll ask you about is I walk by this building all the time. It has those little, I don't know, they're 4x4 posts stuck in to support that porch beam.
Hmm.
You know, it's got these elegant columns, and then it's got these two posts stuck in on the porch on the street side.
those guys.
Yeah, those guys. Nobody ever talked about fixing that, huh?
I would love to take those away, but I'm not sure if historics, well, Scott, we can talk to historic about that to get it back to what it was, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, they really look out of place, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, another, like a funny thing in this unit here, when you go inside to this office, there's a fireplace against this wall, and it's right in front of a window. So it's just for show.
Trying to figure out how things got there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's nice to see the building being maintained, at least, I guess I would say. Are there any questions from the board for the applicant here on this?
No, it's not that change from site plan, from sketch plan. So I thought they did a good, thorough job at sketch plan, which helps us here.
Okay. Is there any other questions from the board?
Well, I have a question for Scott.
Yeah.
Scott,
Yep.
The inclusionary issue you brought up,
Yeah.
your staff report recommended continuation, and I think in part to deal with that. So do we not need to do that? Is that dealt with in your mind? Because if we do a motion on this and we adopt staff's findings and conclusions, we'd have to note that that's different. Is that right?
That's correct. There was, the inclusionary was outstanding in the handicap parking stuff, and both have been addressed. Inclusionary is moot. That can be struck, and I see in the updated site plan, the handicap space and loading areas noted.
Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Okay. Unless there's anything else the applicant wants to add at this point, I think we're going to close the public hearing. Thank you.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Okay. We have one other application here, which is for 180 Flynn Avenue for an after the fact tree removal. Is the applicant here, Scott?
I think so.
Yeah, it's Chris Burke, I believe,
Oh, it's
is going to
Chris?
be speaking
Okay.
for him. Yeah.
All right, Chris, you can talk.
Well, is anybody else here besides Chris to speak on this one, Scott?
If you'd like to speak on this application, raise your hand. Nope, just Chris.
Chris, do you swear to tell the truth and whole truth under pain and penalty of perjury?
I do.
Okay, well, I suppose if nothing else, an explanation of why this is after the fact would be helpful.
Honestly, my coworker is the one that was involved in this. He's out of town right now. To the best of my knowledge, they were cleaning up basically what was a little scrub line. There was the one elm that was there, a couple of scrub trees. And at the same time, the railroad department was there, and they were concerned about some of the trees that were overhanging the tracks. And, not even thinking anything about it, I guess he said, yeah, absolutely, we'll cut them out. They were on our property, but the railroad was concerned. So it didn't even dawn on us that this was something that we needed to permit at all, which I understand is our fault.
And then you remove the stumps, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Very graded. Well, doesn't seem like there's a lot of concern about that at that point, even though nobody likes to see these things after the fact.
I understand.
It's a pretty big property you have there, right? I mean, this is
Yes,
180 Flynn goes, yeah, along the railroad track, but so you've got a lot of perimeter.
correct.
Hopefully next time you know.
We definitely know.
So any questions for the applicant on this one? Okay, well, I think there's questions that people want to ask, but I think they don't really go anywhere. So I guess we'll probably leave it at that. Yeah, okay, then we're going to close this application, this hearing. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. And we don't have any other business here. So it's true, right, Scott?
We should have other business.
I
for
thought there was
Leo.
something. Was it for the
Interesting, yeah. I had
For
to
appointment-
repost the agenda for the Zoom info, and that's why that's not on there. So, yeah, so Leo has volunteered to be our second ordinance committee member. So instead of doing it in July, we'll do it in February. We just need somebody to nominate and second and vote him in. Unless you change your mind, Leo.
So moved.
Jeff, do we have a second? Somebody needs to second it. Caitlin, thank you. Leo, you're all for this, huh?
Yeah, I honestly, I'd forgotten a little bit about that, but I did it back when I was doing the DAB a bit, and so great.
Okay,
Perfect. Thank
appreciate
you.
it. All in favor of Leo being on that committee?
Aye.
Okay, congratulations. And with that, we will close the review board meeting and we can deliberate on,
Recording stopped. Progress.
So on ZP 22-4, 59 King Street, I move that we approve the application and adopt staff's findings and recommendations and conditions.
Caitlin seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Okay, thank you. Next one is 65 Scarff Avenue.
Recording stopped. In progress.
So on ZP 21-833, which is 65 Scarff Avenue, I move that we approve the application and adopt staff's findings and conditions.
Second.
Caitlin, okay, good teamwork. Any other discussion? All in favor? Okay,
Recording stopped.
now we got 251.
On 251-253 South Union Street. Sorry, the permit number is not on the agenda. So
Really?
whatever that permit number is, I move that we accept staff recommendations and approve the application.
A second on that?
I guess just with a point of clarification, I'll second, but
Okay.
clarify. I think we're striking condition 1B
Yeah,
and 1H.
Correct.
Okay.
and I would like to add that they update the plans to reflect the deck on the back to match the elevations. Is that okay?
It really seems like they need to update the plans to reflect what they presented to us today.
Yeah.
It wasn't clear from Scott that it actually been submitted. So.
There was an email late this afternoon. I've not looked at it yet.
And they also need to correct the window on the window they're adding to be a double hung window, or to have the appearance of a double hung window.
All those changes are good with me. But you,
Me
Caitlin.
too. Team member, thank you.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay.
Record. Recording in progress.
So on ZP 21-853, 180 Flynn Avenue, I move that we approve the application and adopt staff's findings and conditions.
Second on that,
Second that.
AJ. Any other discussion?
So what are staff's? I can give you staff's findings.
Standard conditions.
That's all there is standard conditions, because it's already done, the work is completed.
Right.
There's nothing else they're doing. Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Okay,
Recording stopped.